Dajahao. Hello, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Musa's musical melting pot. The name was put by Anthony Neely to give me trouble every time I have to pronounce this. And today we have a very, very special episode because I cannot believe this, but I am with the great, the one and only Scott Tsuyama. I am really, 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 really grateful, brother, that you are here. And I want to ask you a question before.
Okay.
Let's say my family is watching in Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah? How would you introduce yourself?
I would call myself Scott.
Yes.
Just like that. I would say, hi, I'm Scott. I
then-
live in Taiwan. I make music.
Yeah.
And I've been here for almost half my life. But I'm originally from America, originally from Seattle.
There you go.
And yeah, 22 years ago, I moved to Taiwan. And I was here for like a year and a half. And then I moved to Macau for a year. And then I moved to Hong Kong for like 2.5 years. And then I moved back to Taiwan. And I've been here ever since.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You know, I was researching and I found out that you actually got into the music in the
America.
US.
Yeah.
Right? Can you
Yeah.
talk a bit about this? Because I
Yeah.
think it's interesting.
It was probably 1999, and I'm 18 years old, and I got very heartbroken in the U.S. music scene. It went from grunge music, and then it slowly started turning into pop, which was like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, and I didn't really want to leave grunge. I still loved it, but just the world was changing.
Yeah.
And so I started to watch the International Music Channel. And every Wednesday at like midnight, they would play music videos from Asia. And I didn't even know where in Asia they were from. So I didn't know if
Oh.
I'm watching Vietnamese, Chinese,
So they would
Japanese.
just put the videos like nothing.
With no explanation, or they would have a host, but the host would be speaking a different language. And I started to record
Yeah, yeah.
everything, and I would just film
Yeah.
everything. And I would just watch it back all week, and all the chord progressions they were using was so different from everything I was hearing in America. The way the choruses wouldn't repeat after every 4 bars, they would repeat sometimes after every like 8 bars, 12 bars, 16 bars. And it was just blowing my mind. And it was so beautiful too. And there was this one female singer, and I just was like so in love with her songwriting, her sound, there was like a sad beauty to it. And I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what language this was. It was just, I just listened to it all the time.
Yeah.
And then I started to go, like the next year when I was 19, I went to Musicians Institute, which is
Yeah,
a music
MI,
school,
yeah.
MI, yeah, in LA. I was walking by a practice room, and this Asian girl was playing that song that I love. And I was like, what is this? And I just ripped open the door. I was like, who are you? What language is this? What song is this? And she was like, oh, this is a girl named Tsai Jenya. It's a Tanya from Singapore, but it's a Mandarin song. And I was like, Mandarin? Cool. And so she went to Taiwan and she bought me a whole bunch of Tanya CDs and brought them back. And
So
I
nice,
was
huh?
just like in love with these CDs. And as I was going through the CDs, I recognized the name. It was like Lupo Groenig. And I was like, what? This is my guitar teacher. What the fuck? What is he doing on this CD?
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible? And so I went up to my teacher and he was like, oh yeah, Tanya's my girlfriend. I've been dating her and I produce her. And he was like, why do you
What?
even know who she
Yeah.
is? And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I love
Love
Mandarin
music,
music.
yeah.
Yeah. And so it was just like a really small world. And then I just saw Tanya. Oh, and I had messaged Tanya a couple times on like Friendster or something. And that's back when she was still dating Lupo. I was like, hey, I'm Lupo's student, Scott. And like she signed all my CDs when she came to LA one time, but I never met her. And so we were kind of like messaging a little bit on Friendster and stuff. And she was like, oh, yeah, Lupo told me a lot about you. I know who you are. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I met her at the Jingchujiang.
Yeah.
She was sitting like just 3 seats away. And I was like, hi, Tanya, it's me, Scott. And she was like, oh. And she
yes.
had no idea who I was. And I was like, remember, I messaged you on Friendster. You messaged me back. And she was like, oh, did I? And I was like, oh, okay, I should just.
Okay, yeah.
I'm making it weird for everybody. And then,
In my experience, most of the singers here, in general, some of them are songwriters, and maybe some of them will get into production. But in general, they are really good singers and performance. But they have a team behind them.
Yeah, sure.
So did you meet people from those teams?
It was,
you know what I mean?
Singaporean production crew called Funky Monkeys, and I never met them.
Oh, wow.
But I did ask around, and who are these people and stuff.
Yeah.
But because they're all in Singapore, it's like I didn't have any money to go there or travel, and I don't even know if they would want to meet me at that time. So I definitely like appreciated them from the inner CDs.
Yeah.
I could read the Funky Monkeys thing, and I was like, oh yeah, those are those Singaporean guys. They're awesome.
What I'm thinking is that maybe now there is an 18-year-old that likes some of the things that you do.
Yeah.
And he reads your name.
Yeah.
But like the situation might be repeating itself.
Yeah,
as we
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
That's really cool. And I think that it's a very different story from most of the people that I know, at least, that they come here. and it's very related to my own because you came specifically. That's my English. Yeah, baby. Thanks. Specifically for work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started working for Sony here in US. You were still over there, right?
Yes. Yeah. So my best friend at MI
Yeah.
is a Taiwanese guy. And when we graduated, I moved back to Seattle and I was just doing nothing, just writing songs. And my best friend moved back to Taiwan, and he got a job at Sony Music. And they were collecting songs for certain artists and
Yeah.
stuff. And he would kind of email me and be like, hey, do you have any demos or anything? I can like show the Sony Music Taiwan people your demos. And I was super excited. So I sent him everything I had. He played them everything, and they said, oh, this guy's got an interesting sound. And again, no YouTube, no social media. So to get like a Western style song was quite difficult for a Taiwanese record company at that time. You might have to pay an extreme amount of money to like a Swedish professional songwriter. And so they were thinking, wow, if we can just get this like 22-year-old white guy in Seattle to write us songs, that'd be great. So they gave me just like a 24-hour deadline. They said, hey, we have an artist named Karen Mock, and she's looking for her big hit song. Yeah, and I didn't know who she
And
was.
you, of course, yeah. You
Yeah,
were
and I
like,
was just like, dude,
whatever.
I'll do anything.
Yeah,
I just want to
let's
make
go.
money from music. That's crazy. And so I had 24 hours to write and record the demo. I didn't sleep at all. I just went, super try hard mode. I sent them the song, and then they loved it, and they bought it, and they said, wow, this is really cool. Can you like do the arrangement? And I said, yeah, of course. And then I asked them, what's an arrangement? I've never heard this before.
What's an yeah?
Because we don't have arrangements
No.
or arrangers in America.
Organically.
Yeah, it's just a producer, a whole bunch of people in a room doing it, right? And the producer usually does the arrangement, or he's got his like people and stuff. It's just jamming. And I wanted to do my best. So I got like my band, and I went into the studio where Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden all recorded.
Yeah.
And it was like crazy. It's like the legendary studio in Seattle.
Here.
How much time do I? And they were like, yeah, you got 4 hours. And I was like, no problem.
Mama,
That's exactly what I did.
Right.
I went over 4 hours, and I had to borrow money from my grandma.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I finished the arrangement. I sent them all the files. They really liked it. And then they flew me out to Taiwan to meet this guy named Cleland, Alan Kuo.
Yeah.
And because he was going to feature on it. And they were thinking maybe I would be a good fit to produce and write for him. And so, yeah, Sony Music Taiwan flew me out after I'd done that. And that's how I kind of like came to Taiwan.
When I started working here, it was pretty like structured.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Certain people do certain things in a certain way, and you have to respect that. And also, like, it makes the whole, like, the way the companies work, it makes it better or more.
It's a checklist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because it stops like any sort of like instant fury of just like,
There you go.
we got a crazy great idea, let's
Let's
go
just
with
go
it.
with it.
And then in that moment you recorded the best song ever, just release it. Now's the time. We're all still high on it.
Yeah.
But you have to wait for the music video, the meetings and everything. And maybe because you did the arrangement, but you're not the real arranger. Now we have to give your arrangement to another guy, and then he does it, and it's like a bad version of what you did. And
Gracias. Thank you for saying
it's
that.
so horrible. And then it's really heartbreaking too. It's like, why didn't you just use your ears? Like, there was nothing wrong with this.
Why don't you use your ears? But no, there's
The system of how they do it. Yeah. And it's a very by the book. And then even people who are in kind of positions of power in these big record companies now, it's not really about do you belong there? It's how long have you worked at this company, and is it your turn? I didn't ever want to be a producer, actually. I wanted to be a songwriter. And I
But
wanted.
you are a songwriter.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't ever want to leave that kind of like happy thing. I was happy making demos. And then if I could just make like an okay demo, give it to a producer that I really trusted, and he would put the same amount of like love and respect into it and always do his best, then I would feel happy as just being a songwriter. But it never happened. It was always like they would copy some parts, or they would change like a really hardcore rock song and make it like some weird swung hip hop thing. And I was like, this is not the right melody for that. If you wanted to do that, I would have done a different song, but that's not even what I do. And they would try to explain it to me like they have a big marketing idea. Oh, because the singer did too much like hard rock before, so now we're going to do this new thing, and it's all swung and dancing. And I think that's great, but don't use my song then. It's a bad fit for that.
Why? Like why?
Yeah. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but this is like, don't ruin my song. That's
You're preaching to the choir, as you say, because it's the situation is like this. So, oh, you're a Latin guy, right? Yeah. So we have this song, and it might be a heavy metal, or it might be like an electronic, whatever.
Yeah.
But we want to actually release it as a bossa nova. Can you arrange it?
I can, but it won't be the best thing ever.
Why?
Yeah.
Let's write another one.
Yes.
So organically comes into that direction, right? Yeah. Totally.
I was having such a hard time with that too, and so I started to kind of become friends with artists myself. And then I thought, like, I can maybe cut out the middleman if I just do songs that are really suitable for the artist first, and we're just like jamming in my like little studio in my house. And then they play it for their companies. And then I was kind of just hoping, please, will you just like say it's great and we can release it like this? And it didn't. I mean, it worked sometimes, but rarely. And the few times that it did work, it worked like pretty well.
Yeah.
I think even "Sorry That I Loved You" was one of those songs.
He should have the podcast. He himself should have the podcast.
I can talk about myself.
No. Because you were introducing exactly at the right moment what I was thinking. Because you know what, Antonio, he starts to walk, like a beast.
Yeah.
When he starts to feel like we need music. Antonio. I think this is a time where the great Niandong, Anthony Neely, baby, is going to come here, and we are going to try our best to jam to some of your productions and your compositions.
Excellent.
Excelente.
Sorry that I loved you. For all of the times that I tried for your smile, for making you think that I was worth the while. So your love would be mine. For sending you flowers and holding your hand, and no one was there to take a stand. But then love made us blind. And I'm so sorry that I hurt you, sorry that I fell through, sorry I was falling in love with you. Sorry that it came true, but sorry doesn't turn back time. For all that I have done to you, I wish that I could make it right. So sorry that I loved you, sorry that I needed you, sorry that I held you tight. An apology now after all of this time won't make any difference tonight. But I'm hoping, I'm sorry, we'll open your mind to love in your life. Yeah. Sorry that I loved you, sorry that I hurt you, sorry I was falling in love with you. I'm sorry that it came true, but sorry doesn't turn back time. I'm sorry that I love you, sorry that I needed you, sorry I was falling in love with you. I'm sorry that it came true, but sorry doesn't turn back time. For all that I have done to you, I wish that I could make it right. So sorry that I loved you, sorry that I needed you, sorry that I held you tight.
That was so good. Oh, you guys are great. Wow.
What a great song to sing, though.
Wow,
Brother,
yeah.
that was awesome, man.
I remember that one was kind of a copy of a Westlife song or something. They sent me like a Westlife reference, and then I basically copied all the chord progression and then totally wrote a new thing over it.
Dope.
Yeah. That's my confession.
Anthony Neely, our own John Bon Jovi here, baby.
What's up?
That was lovely, man. That was awesome.
That song made me hella famous. I was on McDonald's commercials. It was dope. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, my blood. Well, the next one got you crazy. That one.
Oh, Sensung Me Don't Bow.
Yeah, I got jealous of that one. That's my B-side ganche.
I understand.
Competition came out.
Yeah.
I was like, I had the first #1, but then his next #1 was like way bigger. And I was like, oh.
But you know what? They build on yours.
And ours was like one of the rare English ones.
It was, I think, one of the very few times like an English song got to #1 on the Chinese charts. Like, it's really rare for that to happen.
That's exactly what I want to talk to you about, because we talked about companies, we talk about big companies, we talk about structures, we talk about all this situation. In 2000s, early 2000s, I think that Taiwanese music or Mando pop music was actually the biggest export or the biggest thing. What happened that the Koreans just took off?
Oh, so from what I've heard is that the Koreans invested so much millions of dollars into their top musicians. So their top musicians plus their top businessmen, like that some rarely happens where you're like a great musician, you're also a great businessman.
Yeah.
They found these people and they just, set aside a huge amount of their sort of like annual budget to give these people, and their mission was to make it huge. And what I heard was that these Koreans then went to break into America, and this is maybe around that same time, early 2000s. And no one would give them the time of day because they didn't know who they were. And so they started to pay someone like Will Smith, like, hey, I'll pay you $150,000 US if you let me produce just one of your B-sides. That's it. I just want the credit. And so the record company would be like, dude, you're going to pay us $150,000 US to produce a song for us that we get to own? And once they kind of had the big name now, and they had all this money and people knew that they had money, now they can attract people to go to Seoul to start producing for their people. And now they're not like random dudes like, hey, you want to come to Seoul, make some money? It was like, we know this guy, But what I think also is most important is just their amount of sort of government funding given to the right people. Because I think a lot of other Asian countries do have the same thing. Like Taiwan definitely has it too. And they're giving out 2 million here, 4 million here, 3 million there. But they're giving it to maybe people who are not trying to do anything. They're just like, dude, in free 4 million, and just put it in their pocket because that's great. Now they don't have to like worry so much. Maybe their MVs can be a bit more experimental, but it didn't mean the song was better. It didn't mean the artist was more attractive to a Western audience. It didn't mean any of that. And it didn't mean like it was going to get Taiwanese music out of Taiwan better. It just meant that record company has to like take less responsibility for anything they want to try. Because I think if you don't get any money, it's kind of the best. You have to take full responsibility for everything you do. If you try a big budget MV and it flops hard, you're going to learn your lesson. Or the opposite, if you have no money and you just like, calling up friends and favors and have your friends holding their phone to be the lights on it, and then it gets a couple million, you're like, dude, I don't have to spend any money to get a couple million views. Yeah. And for whatever reason with K-pop and stuff, 25 years ago, they were super ambitious too. Even though they were getting the money, they were using it in a way that really just kind of like, I don't know. And they were just so try hard, and they built schools and stuff, and they were training kids from like the ages of 8 years old. And
that's important, the education side of it. Yeah,
it's crazy too. But of course, there's the evil side of it too, of like the power, the abuse, and like, is that really good? What happens if you're trained from 8 years old and then you don't make it? And then what can you do? Now you're just like a miserable singer.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a good part about Taiwan is that they're not crazy of just like throwing their kids away. They're like, no, that's my kid. I'm down to like
take care of my kid.
Take care of my kid. Yeah.
In regards to a path forward, what do you see that it could happen?
Yeah, I think K-pop has totally shut down the conversation that the world won't listen to other language music.
There you go.
We know that they do. Gangnam Style was #1 for like a year in America. We'd understand nothing, and we loved it. So it is completely possible, but we have to also be more realistic. Where is Taiwanese music in the world market setting right now? And then how can we, if you want to compete with the world, you got to go really compete with the world.
Do you think rhythm it's an important thing? Because most of the songs that are produced here, that they become part of the mainstream, they lack a dancing groove.
So this is my ex-wife's theory, and I love it. She's a real genius. She said that actually music here, especially in the Mandarin market, is more of a therapeutic sense, where maybe if you're going through a heartbreak, you can't speak to your dad, and you're a dude, right? And like you're heartbroken, you want to cry, and your dad's gonna be like, suck it up, just get over it, something like that. And you can't really talk to your mom. You just feel like you have no one to talk to. And so maybe you go into your room, you put on your headphones, and you're listening to like a Rainy Wang song, and she's just saying all the feelings and words that is exactly what you're feeling right now. And now you're using her music more as therapy than you're using it to just listen and have fun with. Whereas in America, we talk about our feelings all day, every day. Everybody has a therapist. So when we listen to music, Gangnam Style is just a fun beat. We're like, yeah, dude, let's do the dance. And we just want to turn off our brains. We don't want to open up our hearts in music. We can do that too, but we don't necessarily need to.
But I think also it is cultural too, because for example, if you talk about, I don't know, man, any Latin song, the lyrics are really sad, but the music is like, you know, is pushing, is always pushing forward, you know. For example, the other day we listened to Gloria Estefan. There is a song called Mi Tierra, and it's really sad about missing home, right? And how you cannot go back because of whatever reason. But the music is like super pushing. Like, yeah, it's a mauton, you know, it's a contradiction. And we like those contradictions in culture. What I feel that here, it's a sad song. The tempo should be slow, and the instrumentation should give me that feeling with that thing, just straight line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cannot have like Man in the Mirror, where he's talking about very deep things.
Yeah,
but the groove is like,
it's happy.
Yeah, I have to change my life. Come on, baby. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I mean, for me, I think there's no reason, there's no rules. You could do it. It's just gonna take the first person to do it.
So we gotta play another song. I'm gonna play another song. And this one, we get him. You know what he did? I'm gonna tell you what he did. You know what he did? We were checking the songs, right?
Yeah.
And he told me before,
I've been playing
suck.
guitar for 15 years.
Go.
And I still suck.
Yeah, he really sucked at playing it in front of the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
So for the guy who go like, just give me that.
Give me the damn guitar.
But we should also mention, I have a huge fear of playing live. What's the tempo of this?
What you want it to be, baby. You wrote it.
You wrote this, so
yeah.
you can make a choice.
That's it. Oh, and we have the music video director holding the camera right there. 你拍他一下好不好？他是这个 MV 的导演。
如果我们再碰到一次，我觉得你会记得过去的日子。每日的思念我已经看破，会记得你对我说 goodbye， 所以我对着你希望你回来，因为我有一想会对你讲，也许你感觉孤单。冷来爱情来，情绪拼命的你敢有想起我？心爱的，你敢有还记得？想你的，你暗暝还记得？
Yeah, awesome.
My hands are all sweaty.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Oh,
Dope.
yeah.
So this song was like,
Talk about it.
Sorry That I Loved You was what, 2009 or 2010 or something like that. And then this song was 2023. We had like, I had like a big, fall from grace as an artist, and then I took a few years off, and then I came back slowly as a
fall
musical
from
thing.
grace.
Yeah, very
Public, baby.
And then Scott hit me up one day.
Why are you laughing? What's happening?
Well, you're
Let's
saying
bring
the
beer.
truth.
Yeah, that's right. What did it look like from the mountain?
So when it really happened, for me, I don't think we felt anything except for like it had to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to like hit the bottom, or you have to hit a wall to kind of like wake up, because we've all had that. I have that, maybe not so public, but I've had it many times in my life.
Yeah.
Pero
I had to heal. I had to break apart and then heal again.
Anthony, you were never Carlos Esteves, aka Charlie Sheen, so it's okay.
I've got a long, I wasn't quite there. Yeah.
He was like, it's a totally different.
You see people like Charlie Sheen, and this is a very common thing, especially for artists. And like so many of my friends are artists, and so many of them have this kind of like incredible life cycle. And it's just, when you're you're on top, you can only go down, but you don't think about it. And then when you're going down, all you want to do is just do anything to get back to the top. And that's really human too. So I never really thought that was like a weird or crazy thing. We have a podcast that nobody listens to, and we share all of our deepest, darkest secrets on it. And it's great because now if there's any sort of scandal, it's not really a scandal, dude. I said that like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid to talk about that.
So I would like to ask you, what do you see for your company, besides all your artists and stuff, for your own future as what you wanted to be originally, songwriter?
Yeah. Okay. So for our company right now, I feel like it's such an amazing, like, big change kind of happening on the internet too, where YouTube is no longer the source for discovering new music. Now it's maybe just Spotify and just the algorithm and stuff. So there's a great opportunity here to not really worry too much about maybe
Catering, pandering.
yeah, something like that. You can just do more, like, whatever kind of music with whoever you want. And then there's going to be a slight, or maybe even an equal chance of like your song getting into the right playlist at the right time as like a huge singer or something, and your song kind of naturally just kind of going through a sort of like viral, like, moment. And so that's great. But also the bad part is there is no more sort of like security or safety. And we're still making music videos, but nobody's watching them. We still love to make it because we feel like we're learning from it. And the whole process of having an artist in front of the camera, feeling that uncomfortable, that nervousness, working together at a team, communicating and stuff, hair and makeup, dealing with all these things is like really important. I think it's kind of like it's the grind actually of an artist. And I don't really think anything helps more than the other. Everything helps equally. And then we just had a song that got to #1 in China like a few weeks ago, and this song is 6 years old.
Oh, what?
It's the Evangeline song. It's called, Li Kai Wo de Eli. And somebody used that song and they cut it with the Demon Slayer most in touching moment from the new Demon Slayer movie. And then all this happened like out of nowhere. And
Just
now
organically,
this
huh?
organically we did nothing. And this is the second time it's happened to one of my songs. The first was Christine. Iba Wang Kanan. And I love these stories because it makes me hold on to maybe the more important part of making music is that if I put in maximum effort and I love this song and I put it out and nobody listens, it's okay. It's still gold. And maybe somebody will discover it years later, and maybe it won't get famous, but maybe just the right person will hear it a few years later and it will really
change their
touch.
life,
Right. That's already so good. We would love to keep finding new people. I really want to do another singing competition because it's such a great way to meet new singers. It was so exciting. There's a horrible responsibility to it and so much fear. And like, you know, I met the people who got 6th place and 7th place and they didn't, you know, get the thing. And I could see a little bit of disappointment, like, how come I didn't get 5? Like, I feel like I could have been 5. I could have had that music video. I could have had that chance to meet you.
And also, like, in these competitions, whoever, like, you might be the head judge or whoever, but it's maybe too philosophical. But how did you really measure beauty? In the Jinjujiang, in the Golden Melody Awards or the Jingjiang, you know many of the judges, and this year we are the judges, and so this person is going to be the winner. Or maybe like this person won't win because the other judges wouldn't have chosen it. So it's really subjective. I think that would be the word,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, I love that though. I love that. I feel so many people put so much of their hope into winning the Jingchujiang that they didn't realize, no, you already got the thing. You got the music. That's the goal. That's the trophy already. And you can't control who's the judges. And the judges are all humans.
Let it go.
And just like, oh, dude, this is my bro's artist. Dude, I got to vote for him. Like, he helped me out 20 years ago. I have to give back. That's a human nature. You know, Taiwanese are very friendly and they're very like caring for their community. Yeah. So it's going to be like that.
Queen, Bob Marley, and the list goes on. People who never won a Grammy.
Yeah, and you don't need it. That's the thing. And so I love the fact that the Jingchujiang is so unpredictable.
Yeah, it is.
Because you shouldn't count on it. Really.
is.
Like, and you should always get your mind clear and clean that this is a bonus. If you get it invited, the whole fun of it is to be nervous and be backstage and be like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Who are all these people? That's the whole fun. It's so, and there's only like 2 bathrooms backstage. It's like really intense.
Yeah, it's really intense.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You're suddenly
They're lying
like,
all the time.
It's like a house, you know, a big family, and then there's just 2 restaurants.
And like
you're
these girls
please.
are wearing these crazy dresses,
Yeah,
and they need
yeah.
like 3
So
girls
you're
to
like,
go into the bathroom together to help them
lift it up.
Yeah. It's so intense. Like, it's really
It's
fun.
really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, okay, we gotta close this. All the love to Scott Suyama. 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Thank you so much for being here. And now that you are here, you say the name of the podcast. 1, 2, 3, go.
Musa's Musical Melting Pot Podcast.
It's unfair. It's unfair. He was born into that language. You know, it's unfair. He did that to me.
That's right.
At every episode. Okay, thank you so very much, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao. Ciao. Gracias.